who needs to hear this, but not caring about my career has made my life so much better. And after I spent the first 17 years of my life trying to get said career, that feels like a weird thing to say, but it was a very quick journey for me of realizing this thing that I had been building towards since birth practically was not something that I wanted. So let's get into the 17-year obsession. When you come into the world, your parents have all kinds of hopes for you and want you to live a happy life. Mine are no different. The first bit of advice that they get on helping you live a happy life is understanding that you need to be smart so that you can go to a good college and get a good grades and get a good job. And once you have a good job, your life will be on the track to being infinitely happy and positive. I have been ambitious from the beginning. I don't know why. I wish I could pinpoint a reason why, but it's just something about me that I always want to strive for the most. Even when all I need to do is the least, I'm still gonna strive for the most. I remember in preschool, my preschool was Noah's Ark themed, so each classroom was an animal. I was in hippo class. Aftercare took place in the lion class. So I knew, as a 3-4-year-old, I knew all the big kids are in lion class and they're all in there doing homework. So somebody must think they're smart enough to give them homework. So that's where all the smart people go. So I'm trying to be in lion class. And I took it upon myself to sneak out of hippo class one day so that I could go to lion class. And I just remember like they had a beanbag. I sat in the beanbag and like talked to the older kids. And I was just like, yeah, like I'm just that girl. I'm just that smart. I don't know if the teachers didn't notice or if they just didn't want to fight me on this. I don't know. But I spent the day in lion class because I wanted to be an overachiever. It's just in my veins, unfortunately. And it didn't stop there. When I was in kindergarten, my older brother, who is 3 years older than me, he started getting homework. And I just thought, well, I was obsessed with homework for some reason. I just thought, well, what a cool thing to do. He has homework, I want homework. And I went to my kindergarten teacher and asked her for homework. There was also a boy that I liked in kindergarten. I noticed he would leave class every day for a while and then come back. And I knew that special needs students did this. They went to a special needs class to like help them keep up with the school material. But I knew that this boy that I liked was smart. So I knew that he didn't need to be in a special needs class to help him keep up with the material because I knew he was ahead of the material. So then my gears went turning and I said, he's leaving to go to smart people class. I want to go to smart people class, and smart people class was gifted education program. The next testing period to like see if you were gifted or not was in the 3rd grade. So I said, I'm gonna get gifted, period. And 3rd grade, sure enough, took the test, got into gifted. I don't know why I do these things. So now I'm in gifted education, elementary school. I've asked for homework. I'm in gifted. I'm doing it all. And I remember it was about 5th grade that I realized we had grades. I never realized before that point because I always got 100s on everything. Sorry, you're supposed to write 100 on the paper. And she's like, you didn't get 100. And I'm like, huh? I didn't even realize I was being graded for accuracy until 5th grade. So education was always something that was important to my parents and therefore important to me. And I always understood, even from the beginning, even as I was trying to get into gifted so that I could be in the same little aftercare program as my crush, even from the beginning I understood that school leads to college, college leads to job, job leads to happy. So I need to do well in school if I'm going to get to college job happy. It's the only way. We fast forward through middle school where I'm winning perfect attendance awards and winning education awards. I was in reading club. We're skipping past that. I was still a smart girl. And at the end of middle school, I needed to pick what math track I was on in high school. I came to understand through these years that although I wasn't gifted, I pretty much tested into gifted probably because of reading and writing. I always read at a college or high school level. I remember we used to have reading tests in elementary school and my teachers would be like, wow, like you're reading at a 10th grade level. And I thought they were saying that just to hype me up, but apparently that's actually a thing. Apparently most people in 3rd grade read at a 3rd grade level. I didn't know that. So that's probably why I got into gifted. Math was never my specialty. I'm 13 or 14 thinking about, okay, if I do math track A, then I'll take 2 AP classes. And if I take 2 AP classes, then that'll look good on my college application. But it'll be stressful because I also know I want to take AP English that year, and I want to do AP this that year, and I want to do this AP that year. So I have 4 APs total, and you're only recommended to do 3 APs. So maybe I'll do this other math track, so I only take 1 AP class in all 4 years of high school, and in that way, I'm like doing 4D chess to figure out how to get the best looking college application. And coming into high school, I am still dedicating myself to it. I am in every club, Miss Girl. Every club. I did 2 years of marching band. I'm in advanced art classes. I am in student council. Girl, I graduate top either 10 or 15% of my class. I'm doing the most and then some, because I'm trying to get into good college so I can get a good job to push me forward in life. And it felt like I'm succeeding so much at school, which means I'm going to succeed so much at job, which means I'm going to succeed so much at happy life. That's the way that the formula was explained to me. For K through 12, which is 13 years, and for 4 years of college, I graduated early, but we're just going to round up. For 4 years of college, for 17 years, I'm dedicating myself to this goal of get good grades, so go to good college, so get good job. I graduate. Finally, it's time to get good job. And even more of the facade fell at this point, but that's a story for another day. We're going to skip to the point when I get my first job. I am working as a junior graphic designer and print production coordinator at a real estate agency. As I'm working this job, we approach a breaking point. The facade has been slipping in things that I've skimmed over, but now I'm getting close to a point of transition, a point of transformation. I remember my coworkers would be very impressed that I decided to move to California by myself. My family didn't come with me. I didn't end up having any friends with me. So it was just, I just picked up my stuff and moved to California for no good reason. I didn't even have a job when I came here. People were very impressed by this and would often ask why I decided to do this, how I felt about it, la-di-da. And one of the questions that came up was, how are you adjusting? I misconstrued this question to be, how are you adjusting to being an adult now? Being out of college, having bills to pay, working a full-time job, no longer going to school. How are you adjusting to that? And I would try to answer that question honestly. I would say honestly, I'm kind of struggling because I feel like outside of the hour-long commute to work, because I can't afford to live anywhere closer to this job, aside from the actual 8, really 9 hours spent at work, the hour-long commute back home, I'm finding I don't have much time to myself. And the time that I do have to myself, I have to spend it on taking a shower, going to the gym, cooking a meal, washing my laundry. I'm spending it on things that I have to do to maintain a quality life, but not on things I want. It's not like I'm hanging out with friends. I'm not going shopping. I'm not doing a hobby. I'm just simply surviving and going to work, essentially. And that's not what my life used to be. I used to be the girl in high school who was doing the most, who was in gifted classes, who was in AP classes, who was in every club, who was in advanced course. Like, I had an internship. I had a job. I used to do all this stuff. And yet I still had time to write my fanfics and watch my anime and draw and do all my little stuff. And now as an adult, I'm finding all the time for all my little stuff has flittered away, and I don't know why. And whenever I answered like that, my coworkers would kind of smile and nod and shimmy away from me, and I slowly realized they were asking how I was adjusting to California as opposed to Georgia, and I started answering that question differently. But the truth that I had laid out for them was abundantly clear to me. And as more time passed, not much time at all, but as more weeks went on, I started to realize the reason my coworkers would just smile and shimmy away from me saying that, me answering the question that way, was because they didn't have a solution. No matter what, it was still always true that I dedicated about 8 to 10 hours of my day every day to work and commute. And my coworkers all knew that, and they'd all accepted that. That's why they really had nothing to say to me when I was struggling with the challenge, because they were too. So I remember it was about 3 months into this job at the real estate brokerage, I realized, oh, things are not going to change. This is it. I just spent 17 years from when I escaped into the Lion class in preschool all the way up to when I graduated magna cum laude in college. I just spent all of that time trying to get to this point, and now I'm here. I don't like it, and it's not like I just have to get through the semester. There is no winter break. There is no, oh, next year I'll be in middle school. Oh, next year I'll be in high school, so things will be different. Next year I'll be a senior. There is none of that. There is no change. There is no light. There is no end of the tunnel. I have to do this for 40 years. I'm only 3 months in, and I already don't like it. So if I'm honest, I lamented for a while. I was stuck. I was stuck in what I thought I wanted, what I thought I had been dreaming of. I was working a creative job. I was in LA. I thought I was getting everything that I wanted, but my day-to-day life was pretty much just driving, working, driving again, showering, and going to bed. And that's just not much of a life, I'm sorry. Eventually, my lamenting was just not something that my ambitious veins were able to accept. And they said, hey, I wanted to get into gifted, I got into gifted. I wanted to make sure I had enough AP classes in high school, I had enough. I wanted to get my way through college debt-free, even though nobody was helping me pay, and I got my way through. If I want to figure out an adult life that works for me, I'm going to have to do it. And this is when I had my internal shift that really took me from hustle culture, ambitious career girl, that girl, girl boss type of lifestyle and mindset into the lifestyle and mindset of somebody who thrived in coziness, who wanted to live for fulfillment. Fulfillment and joy have become such keywords for me. There were a couple of things that created this shift in me. One of them was at the end of my lamenting, I discovered a movement called FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early, and it is many different ways. As you get deeper into FIRE, you'll see it varies. Many different ways that people have found to retire early, as the title suggests, to be able to live their life without their job, or to be able to have a job, but not need to depend on it. I have yet to achieve FIRE. I still work a job to this day. Having that mindset really brings me a lot of hope. Knowing that I am on track to retire at least a little bit early at this point really brings me a lot of hope. And inching closer and closer to not having to work at all and being able to live for me brings me hope. But also in studying FIRE, I started to ask myself, well, if I do retire early, what am I going to do with myself? And once I found those answers, my main change was trying to find ways to bring those things into my daily life. A lot of what I felt like I didn't have was time. So back when I was working that job at the real estate agency, I gave myself back a lot of time by accepting that things were not always going to get done. Sometimes my dishes are not going to get washed. Sometimes my car is not going to get cleaned. Sometimes I'm not going to be the perfect adult. Sometimes my car, pretty much every year, my car tags are going to get re-registered late because I have other things to do. It's very nice that society wants me to care about all of this hubbubaloo and doing dishes and stuff, but I have a life to live, okay? So the pan can stay in the sink for one day so that I can go hang out with my friend instead of doing these little chores. I also took a lot of comfort, peace, just everything in travel. I really needed travel. I still enjoy travel. I still do travel, but I needed it back then. I needed to have a week where I just said goodbye to my job. And I found that it was not only more exciting, more fulfilling, more like adventurous for me to travel internationally, but it was also cheaper. I found that giving myself back these little pockets of time was really helpful in feeling like I had some semblance of a life for myself. And then came the time when I got laid off that job. That is also on my YouTube channel. You can go back and watch my layoff and unemployment videos. But I got laid off that job and I was unemployed for a year. And that year was so transformative. I realized a lot about myself. I realized working really doesn't make me happy. It really, really doesn't. When I was laid off, I was living on about $20K of unemployment pay and food stamps. And I thrived. I thrived at that time. I hung out with friends. I did crafting projects. I went to my part-time job 1 day a week. I just enjoyed myself. And yes, it was tough. Yes, I had to have 5 roommates. Yes, I was eating with food stamps. Yes, there were times when it was like, okay, well, I'm out of food stamps, so no toilet paper. Yes, but I found the money was not really that important to me when I had my time back. So anyways, we fast forward through some other stuff happening and we make it to now. Right now, I work a hybrid job, which has been, oh my gosh, crucial in getting my time back. I could truly at 5 shut my laptop and I'm already in my house. My time that is mine has begun. And my next goal would be to get a remote job to enhance that even more, to be able to live wherever I want, and to just have that freedom. FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early, the movement that kind of started all of this thinking for me. The key word there for me used to be retire early, but these days it's independence. I really want to have time freedom and location freedom, to be able to do what I want, when I want, wherever I want. I'm not yet at a point where I can live like that, but that is what I slowly inch myself closer and closer to. I know that I worked for it for nearly 2 decades. I know that it's what I wanted. I know that it's what I dedicated my life to, essentially. I know that it's what my parents want for me, what my teachers wanted for me, what society wants for me. I know that it's the normal way to do things, and I know that I am just supposed to smile and nod and suck it up and deal with not having any time and just be an adult. I know this, but I don't want to do it. And the ambitious blood that flows through my veins and had me doing mental gymnastics every single day of those 17 years that I was in school, that blood is not going to allow me to be complacent in a life that I don't enjoy. So what my life looks like now is taking 2 weeks off and using my job's 2-week work from anywhere program, combining it and spending a month in Southeast Asia. What my life looks like now is taking group trips all over the world. I travel all the time. I haven't really traveled this year because I spent a month in Southeast Asia, but I usually take 2, 3, 4 international trips a year. What my life looks like now is, oh my gosh, cultivating a community. Cultivating a community. Any chance I have to hang out with friends, to meet someone new, maybe go on a date if I'm in that kind of mood, but any chance that I have to interact with someone and have like a quality engagement with somebody, I'm going to take it. My weekends, always leaving the house. What my life looks like now is engaging in hobby. I always have something that I can do for fun a couple of inches away from me. If I stood up right now and reached over my bed, I could grab my crochet project. I have a writer's group class on Wednesday. I have my gymnastics class on Friday. What my life looks like now is being able to take advantage of the fact that I work a hybrid job and do some of my chores during work. During work, you get 15-minute breaks. 15 minutes is plenty long enough for me to sort my laundry and throw it in the washer. And now my laundry is running while I'm at work, instead of me having to spend time caring for it after work and the time that is supposed to be mine. What my life looks like now is prioritizing those 2 key words, if you remember them, fulfillment and joy, in any way that I can. And for me, the ways that I can is just not by focusing on or centering a job. Even though that's who I thought I was always going to be, I had these images in my head of me clicking my high heels on the marble floors as I walked into a big tall glass skyscraper building where I was some big important director, art director lady. Those days are gone. I just want my little quiet life that belongs to me, and I'm okay with that. In my travels, I've learned that one thing that is quite American is to ask people what they do for work when you're first meeting them. Hello, hi, what's your name, what do you do? I encourage you to instead ask yourself, you can practice in the comments, what do you do? And what you do does not have to include work. What do I do? Well, I like to crochet, I'm starting up a notebook brand, I enjoy making YouTube videos, I garden if I can. My home doesn't have a lawn right now, but I found a community garden, so I might start there. I garden if I can. I like to explore LA, try new things with my friends. These are the things that I do. Sure, I'm a marketing project manager, but that is just not really part of my identity. That is a means to an end. That is a way of acquiring wealth. When I ask, what do you do? Your answer is probably not go to the grocery store, even though you do that every week to acquire the food that you need to survive. So why should what do you do to acquire the money you need to survive be a part of the answer? What do you do that is important to you? If you're in your 20s or your 30s, so I'm getting close to 30s, and you just feel a bit stuck with this whole career thing, you feel like you've been carrying the thought of your career your whole life, and you're realizing it's maybe just not the center of your concerns, you are not alone in that. You are not crazy for feeling that way. You don't just have to suck it up and accept it like everybody's telling you. You can live differently, and this channel is me exploring exactly that concept. So if that seems interesting to you, please go ahead and hit subscribe. Next week, we will be doing another episode of the Dream Life Diaries, where I'm building up a dream life for myself. And we will be talking about one of my favorite things to be, lazy. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button so that the algorithm knows that you enjoy it and can show you more videos like this. And please leave a comment. Let me know, what do you do? Click on these links that are appearing. If you liked this video, you'll like these too. And I will see you guys next time. Till then, toodaloo. I'm giving you time to click the links.